Firefighters call it the silent killer for a reason. I'm Cody Boyer in Bozeman, talking with them on how they are combating carbon monoxide.
New year, new laws. I'm Michelle Medina with what's in store for 2020.
New year, same kind of weather. Chet Lehman, Matt Elwell with you here on this 2020 January 1st.
Job security, Chet.
That's what it is, Matt. It's kind of interesting out there. I mean,
it is.
Lynn tells me we had a bit of a blizzard blow through for about 12 seconds yesterday in Belgrade. I got a little snow. Roads are a little slick. The wind continues to blow.
It depends on where you are.
Yeah.
You've had a few light snow showers here and there. The wind is really our big issue. The temperatures are actually fairly mild. You still want to bundle up. Our temperatures are holding into the 20s and 30s for most of the area. The moisture is trying to work its way back into the region, but I do expect the wind and the warmer temperatures to really impact us as you head into the afternoon. What I mean by that, rain-snow mix, we could see some ice on a few of the area roadways as our temperatures fall this evening. We're going to break it all down for you, of course, coming up in just a few minutes.
Good thing I have tomorrow off.
You
I
do?
don't.
Oh,
Never
no,
mind. I'll
right?
be here. Yeah, that's right. I'll continue to follow your forecast.
Scared me.
6:31 now. Unfortunately, our top local story this half hour: law enforcement in Sweetgrass County investigating a homicide out of Big Timber. Shortly before 5:30 last night, law enforcement responded to West 8th Avenue, found a person dead of a gunshot wound. One suspect is in custody, and officials say there is no ongoing threat. Victim's name has not been released at this time. Also, a new year means new scams. Montana Attorney General Tim Fox warning Montanans about a scam where out-of-state call centers are posing as local tow truck companies. Both Billings and Missoula have had reports of the scam. Here's how it worked. Customers search the internet for tow truck companies near them. Various profiles of fake tow truck companies with fake reviews and pictures appear as search results. But when you call a company's number, you're connected to an out-of-state call center whose representatives demand callers' credit card information. Now, you can protect yourself from these scams by analyzing the websites. They look generic, covered in stock photos, have few specifics about the business. The sites are usually set up quickly, might have grammatical or spelling errors in them. Fox says legitimate tow truck companies don't charge until the tow is completed. In other news, 2 visitors at Yellowstone National Park have been cited for walking on the cone area of the Old Faithful geyser. The 2 were caught on the park surveillance camera on Friday. There you can see the video of it. Rangers were able to use the video to track the 2 down. Park officials have not released any information on who the violators are or where they're from. Now, earlier this year, you may remember, or earlier last year, I should say, a U.S. citizen living in India suffered severe burns after falling into a hot spring near Old Faithful's cone. Also, Bozeman Fire Department has been getting a lot of calls lately about the dangers of carbon monoxide. That after a Bozeman woman died and sent another to a hospital as a result of carbon monoxide poisoning over the weekend. MTN's Cody Boyer spoke with the fire chief to tell us more about the dangers of what they call the silent killer.
Carbon monoxide alarms are one of the most important things you can have in your house.
It's an alarm that no one wants to hear, yet it's the watchdog for an invisible threat.
Carbon monoxide is a colorless and odorless gas. You cannot detect it as a human. You got to have some kind of device, the alarm in your home, to detect that for you.
Since what happened at a home on 11th and Babcock in Bozeman, Bozeman Fire Chief Josh Waldo says they've received more calls, more questions from the community. But Waldo says the nature of the gas makes it hard to know when it's actually there.
Carbon monoxide call comes out the same as a gas odor, comes out the same as a strange odor.
Chief Waldo says carbon monoxide can impact almost anyone, almost anywhere. He adds prevention of something as unpredictable and dangerous as carbon monoxide can be simple, yet at the same time, it's unpredictable, so it should be done as soon as you can.
If they're not venting properly, that creates a situation where you could have carbon monoxide build up in your home.
Waldo adds a clogged chimney or unmaintained fireplace. Anything with a leaking pilot light could lead to the gas.
That's why it's important to have your appliances serviced on an annual basis by a professional.
That includes getting a carbon monoxide detector. A warning that could save your life.
It depends on the person. There's a lot of variable factors in there that are going to make each situation a little different.
In Bozeman, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
Chief Waldo also says it's important to read the manufacturer's label when setting up your detector to know where to place it. As for the second woman involved in Sunday's incident, her condition is still unknown. Investigators say she is still recovering, however. Well, as of tomorrow, the Bozeman Public Library is going to leave its overdue fees, well, in the past. Starting January 2nd, the library is going fine-free. After an agreement between the library board and the city of Bozeman, the library will make it so patrons will not be fined for overdue materials from books to other media. The library will also erase all past fines. Now, this doesn't mean they don't want their books back. Patrons still have a due date to bring the materials back. Otherwise, they will be charged a fee, basically paying for the book.
The understanding was that a lot of families had stopped coming to libraries because these daily fines become a real burden to them. The American Library Association about 18 months ago started a policy request with public libraries across the country asking us to look for ways to eliminate those daily fines.
Now, the Bozeman Public Library joins several others in the state doing this, along with the following recommendations from the American Library Association. Well, ringing in the new year means new laws taking effects across the country. This year's new laws include groundbreaking privacy protection and new charges for some owners of electric vehicles. CBS's Nichelle Medina reports this morning from Los Angeles.
Surfing the web will be different for computer users in California.
And one of the requirements of the California law is on the homepage of your site that you actually display a button that says, "Do not sell my data."
The California Consumer Privacy Act now allows people to see the information companies collect about them and stop those entities from sharing it. That includes names, addresses, browsing, and purchase history. Illinois won't allow DNA data collection companies like Ancestry.com to share test results with health or life insurance companies unless users give permission. Minimum wage workers in more than 20 states are getting a raise. Some will earn as much as $15 an hour. Illinois becomes the 11th state to legalize recreational marijuana. Recreational use is also legal today in Washington, D.C. The new year also brings new fees to electric vehicle owners. Many states are looking to plug into new sources to offset lost gas revenue. New or higher registration fees take effect for electric vehicle owners in at least 8 states. The fees range from $50 in Kansas to $200 in Alabama and Ohio. In New York, no bail is required for people accused of misdemeanors and nonviolent crimes. California is the first state to ban discrimination based on natural hairstyles, including afros, braids, twists, and locks. And in Oregon, bicyclists can roll through stop signs.
They could keep their momentum going forward, but they still have to treat it as a yield
if they slow their bike to a safe speed. Nichelle Medina, CBS News.
Also in Washington state, anyone over the age of 4 but shorter than 4 foot 9 inches who outgrows a harness seat must still sit in a booster seat. Well, 2019 was a year of historic political events, culminating with the impeachment of President Trump by the House of Representatives. Natalie Brand reports this morning from Washington.
Article 2 is adopted.
The House of Representatives voted to impeach a president for only the 3rd time in U.S. history. Democrats charged President Trump with abuse of power and obstruction of Congress after allegations he pressured the leader of Ukraine to announce an investigation into his political rivals.
There was no pressure. Was there a quid pro quo? The answer is yes.
Current and former administration officials testified the president held up military aid and a White House meeting from Ukraine.
Get over it. There's going to be political influence in foreign policy.
A long-awaited Inspector General's report on the FBI's Russia probe found no political bias while investigating the 2016 Trump campaign, but agents did make a number of errors.
The activities we found here don't vindicate anybody.
A federal jury found the president's longtime associate Roger Stone guilty on 7 charges, including witness tampering, stemming from special counsel Robert Mueller's investigation. In March, Mueller released his highly anticipated report on Russian interference in the 2016 election. It found no collusion, but outlined possible instances of obstruction.
No collusion, no obstruction. I won.
Did you actually totally exonerate the president?
No.
President Trump sparred with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi throughout the year.
Go ahead. What we witnessed on the part of the president was a meltdown.
end with a group of freshman House members, 4 women of color, known as the Squad. But the House and the president were able to advance a new trade agreement with Canada and Mexico, even as the president and Congress clashed over the southern border, and conditions at migrant detention facilities came under the microscope.
We're better than that.
The resounding voice of Congressman Elijah Cummings fell silent in October after he succumbed to long-standing health issues. The Supreme Court blocked a controversial citizenship question from the 2020 census, but the High Court still has to weigh in on key cases that include LGBTQ workplace rights and the fate of young immigrants known as Dreamers.
You're so lucky I became your president.
Campaign 2020 revved up with President Trump seeking a second term. On the Democratic side, a crowded field of nearly 30 candidates has been cut in half. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg joined the race late, looking to catch the frontrunners, former Vice President Joe Biden, Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and South Bend, Indiana Mayor Pete Buttigieg. They're preparing for primary season as the Senate prepares for an impeachment trial in the new year. Natalie Brand, CBS News, Washington.
And just as a reminder, 2020 primary season voting kicks off with the Iowa caucuses on February 3rd, just a little more than 30 days away, followed by the New Hampshire primary 1 week later. 6:41 now. We're going to take a quick break. When Montana this morning comes back, recent tensions in the Mideast have put U.S. troops on the move. We have the latest from Kuwait. But first, here's what's ahead on CBS This Morning.
Coming up, the latest from the U.S. Embassy in Iraq, where protests continue after Iranian-backed militia tried to storm the compound. Plus, expert tips to take charge of your health and wellness in 2020. Coming up on CBS This Morning.